So some may be wondering what exactly is the Honors College. So basically, at its heart, it's a home base for 8 unique living learning programs. So you can think of them as small, tight-knit communities within our larger university. Each has its own focus and its own theme personality. They're the result of a collaboration between faculty, the resident life staff, and student support staff, who all work together to connect what happens in the classroom with real-world experiences. So for students, being a part of the Honors College is not just about piling on more work. I know that's a misconception. It's about enhancing their education. So students will take our honors courses, which goes towards their general education requirements. But those classes go deeper into the content. They're smaller, and the opportunities to explore the topics more fully than a regular non-honors class. Plus, many programs include hands-on projects, research opportunities, or community engagement opportunities, so learning doesn't stop in the classroom. And our mission with this is to go beyond academics. We want to help them build meaningful connections, not just with their professors, but with their peers, and just the broader community around them. Ultimately, we're here to help them become more ethical, informed, and engaged leaders who use their skills to make a real difference in the world. And after they graduate, our hope is that they'll leave UMD not just with their degree and knowledge, but with the confidence and experience to apply that knowledge in the real world, whether that's launching a startup business, shaping public policy, creating art, or solving global challenges.
All right, so if your student was invited to join the Honors College, hopefully you are aware that we have a preference form. We recommend that we have a deadline for that form of February 16th. The best chance to be placed into the programs that they're most interested in is by submitting that form by February 16th. So all students in the Honors College will need to be in one of these 8 programs. The curriculum for each program is different. So students will pursue the curriculum in one of these programs, whichever program they are in, to earn their honor citation. Each of these programs has a different curriculum, different area of focus, and the students will earn like I said, their honor citation. So that preference form is due February 16th. We ask students to tell us their preferences for 5 programs. They must include at least 5 programs. They may list all 8 if they want, in their order of preference. And then we will let students know which program they've been invited to. We expect those invitations to go out the very beginning of March. And then students will then have until May 1st to decide whether or not they want to enroll at the University of Maryland. So let's talk a little bit about each of these programs. So the first one is the Advanced Cybersecurity Experience for Students, known on campus as ACES. This program features both technical and non-technical cybersecurity courses taught by industry leaders, professional development and leadership opportunities, connections with corporate partners, and applied experiences such as internships, research, and group problem solving within a tight-knit community of students. We often are asked about experience with cybersecurity, and students do not have to have experience with cybersecurity in order to be invited to this program. Design Cultures and Creativity, known as DCC, offers hands-on courses that emphasize experimentation and self-directed learning. Students will pursue activities and coursework that encourage your creativity and artistic spirit to thrive. There are classes and facilities that introduce you to emerging technologies and tools, and a calendar of events to help you form and maintain close bonds in a dynamic community. So something that students are always interested in for this program, there's a makerspace and a sound studio that's available to DCC students. So they can explore lots of different types of making, and they can explore sound as well. Gemstone is unique. This program is the only program that is a 4-year program. For all of the rest of our programs, they are designed to be completed in about 2 years, but Gemstone is a 4-year program. It is a research-based program. So in this program, students of all majors will come together in teams to design, direct, and conduct significant research under the guidance of faculty mentors and Gemstone staff. The 4 years is so that they have lots and lots of time to develop their research. At the end of the 4 years, the student research teams will present their research in the form of a thesis to experts during the spring semester of their senior year. Gemstone also offers GEMS Camp for their new incoming students. This opportunity takes place just before classes start for the new cohort of students to come together and really get to know each other and start to build their community and to learn more about what they can expect in the Gemstone program. Next is Honors Global Challenges and Solutions, known as HGLO. This program offers a hybrid of training in data science and learning about global issues. With specialized courses conducted in close contact with distinguished faculty, HGLO students can pursue original research on specific global topics, as well as internship and study abroad experiences connected with global public service and unique opportunities in the nation's capital area. Through the dual lenses of social science and data science, HGLO empowers students to understand, analyze, and address major global challenges. Honors Humanities offers a tight-knit community of people who love the arts and humanities of all kinds and who want to use what they learn in the program about law, religion, literature, history, food, dance, philosophy, and more to find success in their careers, to live a fulfilling life, and to do good in the world. Integrated Life Sciences offers unparalleled, accelerated, and innovative courses and research opportunities in all areas of the life sciences, as well as service learning experiences that are designed to launch the careers of outstanding students exploring all aspects of life sciences. Interdisciplinary Business Honors offer students a big picture view of business in relation to multiple fields, life callings, and social issues. Students will combine access to cutting-edge professional and technical business skills with broader thinking about the role of business in the world and in relation to multiple academic fields. They'll then apply this knowledge to thinking critically about the great challenges of our time, including social, environmental, public health, and human rights topics. And finally, University Honors is our oldest and largest program. This program is not defined by a specific subject, but rather it draws on distinguished faculty from across campus to teach fascinating courses on big questions and ideas from different disciplinary perspectives. Students will chart their own path by selecting from over a dozen themes and 25 distinct courses every semester. And students will also represent one of 4 UH houses and will compete in an annual House Cup competition. Every one of these programs is available to students of any major. So honor students can be in a living learning program that is related to their major. They really want to go more in depth in their chosen field of study. Or they can be in a program which is the complete opposite of their major, which gives them an opportunity to really broaden their experience during their time here.
So we went in to talk about a little bit about the programs. But now, after your student has been invited, I'm sure you're also wanting to know what is the difference between them being in honors and not in honors, like what are the benefits for them? So as mentioned earlier, first, we would say is the classes. They're smaller and more discussion based. Many feel more like a seminar rather than a lecture hall, which they would typically get in their general education courses. So it allows them more time, more chances to speak up, ask questions, and build those deeper connections with their professor and peers. Also, our students earn an honor citation, which is notated on their official credential, sorry, that's on their transcript, which is earned in about 2 years, except for Gemstone. As Jenny mentioned, that is our 4-year program. So students will earn their citation at the end of that. Also, our students gain more access to research opportunities, internships, and study abroad programs, both here on campus and beyond. And whilst our honor students are deeply involved in their programs, they're also fully engaged members of the wider UMD community, joining student orgs, clubs, and departments all across campus, so they're not siloed at all. And there are plenty of social events throughout the year, from program-specific gatherings to our college-wide favorites.
I know that internships are something that folks are always interested in, and our location right near Washington, D.C. gives students access to many internship opportunities that are in the Baltimore, Washington, D.C. region. Each of our programs will bring in experts in the field of study to meet with their students. So, for example, the ACES program, the cybersecurity program, they have a career mentor component. So, they will bring in experts from organizations such as the NSA to come in and talk to the students in the program about their career and how they got there. And then also, those mentors are able to offer the students individual guidance on their careers. And internships are available to students both during the school year and over the summer. And there are internships available both on and off campus.
So UMD is proud to be a Research One institution, which allows us to have more access to funding, labs, and faculty-led projects. And as I mentioned earlier, our honors classes are smaller, so your students will have real chances, real chances to build, like I said, the relationships not only with their peers but professors, but when they're building those relationships with the professors, those relationships could also lead to hands-on research opportunities. So all students at the University of Maryland have access to research opportunities. There's a plethora of options, but being in the Honors College, what we're basically saying is like they have an easier access because they are building those relationships with their professors, so the professors know them personally. So it helps for these type of opportunities, plus letters of recommendation and stuff like that. And thanks to our region, they tend to find incredible research possibilities nearby. For example, you can see stuff on the screen. John Hopkins, the National Institutes of Health, whether they're into science, humanities, policy, or something completely different, there's more than enough room for them to explore.
Okay, and study abroad is also very popular, and there are lots and lots of options. So, the University of Maryland as a whole offers different lengths of study abroad, so students can do the full semester or even two. I'm aware of students who do 2 semesters abroad, or there are shorter versions. So, there's, summer or winter versions, or even spring break. So, there's options for everyone to pursue study abroad if that's something you're interested in. Some of our living learning programs actually offer their own study abroad opportunities. So, for example, University Honors offers summer in Oxford. IBH has, for the past few years, offered a winter study abroad option. This past January, they were in Switzerland. HGLO has been offering a spring break in Panama option. And DCC also offered winter in Berlin. So, there's a wide variety of opportunities. Oh, and ILS. ILS is going to Puerto Rico. I can't remember if that was winter or summer, but as you can see, lots of different opportunities there. Students who are interested in studying abroad, especially if they're interested in studying abroad for a semester, they should definitely talk to their advisor about the opportunities as early as possible. Studying abroad for a semester does require coordinating and making sure that you're earning all the credits you need to earn, but it is obviously possible. And then we do have a study abroad office on campus, and they also do study abroad fairs, I believe, every semester, so that students can just go to that fair and learn about the different opportunities available.
Okay, so we all know that Honors College should be more academically driven, but within our community, we want it to be more than just classes and research. It's also about finding your people and building that community that you would like at a larger university like UMD. So one of the great ways that we do that is by getting involved. And there are several ways to get involved within the Honors College, but there's hundreds of ways to get involved across campus. But just speaking solely for honors, you can see on the screen just a few of the opportunities that our students get. And I'll just highlight a couple. So the honors ambassadors, which I'm biased to, but that's fine. The students that we have here, they're a volunteer group of our current students who help us with our events. They connect with prospective students and their families, and they get to share their real experiences so that they're helping the next generation coming in with students. And then each of our living learning programs has its own student advisory board where students help to plan events, shape the student experience through sharing their feedback, and they work directly with the faculty and staff. Our programs even offer TA, which is teaching assistantships positions, which our students take great advantage of.
So we also have scholarships available. Obviously, your students who were invited to the university will be considered for academic merit scholarships. Those decisions will come out by March 1st. But once they are here, we do have a National Scholarships Office on campus that is available to help our students apply for scholarships for beyond after their time here at UMD. They can apply for these awards. We've got many students who have been very successful in applying for and winning these competitive national and international awards. So on the screen here are some examples of the awards that our students have received in recent years, including the Fulbright scholarships, NSF Graduate Research Fellowships, Goldwater, many, many additional awards beyond these listed.
And then I know we're thinking about the future, but I know that the parents especially are thinking about this. So just sharing some statistics about the class of 2024, that's the latest data that we have. So about 70% of our students were employed within 6 months post-graduation, and 20% decided to continue their education, whether that was through grad school or professional schools. So in other words, nearly all of our students walk out of here with a clear next step and the confidence, skills, and networks to succeed wherever they decide to go.
And here are some of the examples of places that our students have gone after graduation. So on the left side, you'll see some of the graduate and professional schools where they have landed. It includes students who are pursuing English at Boston College, engineering at MIT, medicine at Johns Hopkins, and law at UCLA, for just a few examples. And on the right side are some career placement examples for recent grads. This includes a software engineer with Roblox, a data scientist with Banter, a landscape designer with Design Collective, and the co-founder and CEO of Wise Cities. These are just a small sample of some of the many opportunities that our students have after graduation.
Okay, hopefully we kept that short. So that's the end of our presentation. Just a few reminders before we go into Q&A. And at this time, I would say if you have not started putting your questions in the Q&A area, go ahead and do that now, so we can get to them in a few minutes. So don't forget, as Jenny mentioned, our preferencing form deadline is approaching. It's on February 16th. So if your student has not submitted it, please, 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 please have them submitted by that date. It does not obligate them to the university. That is a completely separate process. The only thing that form does is reserves a spot in the Honors College if they decide to come to UMD. And if they decide they don't want to be in the Honors College after, later on, they will have the freedom to not go forward with the program, but they still need to. We really recommend them putting that form in just so we can at least guarantee they have a spot. So if your student does have any questions about that, or you have any questions about that, please email us. Our email is on the screen. It's honorsadmissions@umd.edu. Me and Jenny monitor that email inbox, and we're pretty quick at responding. So just shoot all your questions there if you need to ask them. We prefer you ask them than not. Now, I would like to turn things over to the people that you probably want to hear from the most, our students, which are our honors ambassadors. So these, again, are current students who are here to share their real experiences and answer your questions from a student perspective. So ambassadors, you can go ahead and turn on your cameras, and then we'll introduce everyone. I'm going to stop sharing. And if you haven't followed, go ahead and follow us on Instagram too, so you can stay up to date what we're doing. All right. All right. All right. So we'll start with Sachi. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Sachi Samdani. Can you hear me?
Mhm.
Perfect. I am a part of Honors Global Challenges and Solutions, and I'm a senior studying economics with a minor in data science.
Thank
And
you.
I'm originally from New Jersey, East Windsor, New Jersey.
Good. Out of state. Yes. Mallory.
Hello, my name is Mallory Striplin. I'm in integrated life sciences. I'm a sophomore chemistry major on the pre-med and pre-law tracks, and I'm from Rockville, Maryland.
Perfect. Last but not least, Marissa.
Hi, everybody. I'm a junior, or my name is Maritza. I'm a junior in the ILS program. I'm on the cell biomolecular genetic major on the pre-med track, and I have an Asian American Studies minor, and I'm originally from Harper County, Maryland.
Perfect. Thank you. And I didn't mention this earlier, even though it looks like some people found the option. If you see a question in the Q&A area that you also are interested in, you have an option to upvote it. And on our end, it will kind of push it up as a priority. It's telling us that multiple people are asking that question. So that's an option for you as well. So let's start getting into the questions. Um, what if my student is not interested in 5 of these programs? They are very specific and it would be a reach to come up with 5 that interest them. So we completely understand that. There may be 2. I just actually spoke to a student yesterday who said they were only interested in 2 programs. We completely understand that, but just for the sake of when we're going through our preferencing process in the back end, we really want to make sure that we get your student in a program. And because our programs have caps, not all of them can take the same amount of students. So we have some smaller programs that will only take like 60 to 70 students. And then, of course, we have our bigger programs like Gemstone, it'll take about 150. And then our largest is UH, which takes about 450-ish. So if a student only ranked 2, and those were our 2 smallest programs, and they ran out of space, that's why we want them to put more than 2 up there. So that is the reason why, if for whatever reason they get into a program that they do not like, they can email us after they get their program placement, tell us which one they actually have a preference for, and we will put them on a wait list. And after the May 1st commitment deadline, once we see where our numbers land with each of our programs, if the space is there, we will start going to the wait list and taking those students off and placing them where they requested to be placed. So there's that. If you do have any questions in regards to like specific programs, just to learn more about them, you can go to our website. There should be videos on there for like information just for each program, but you're also more than welcome to reach out to us. And if me and Jenny can't answer that, we will get you connected with the student that can. All right. Do students in the honors program have access to different, better housing options compared to non-honor students? I will let the students answer that.
I can answer this one. I'll start. So, as I said, I am in ILS. I'm actually graduating my program this semester, but I lived in La Plata for the first 2 years of school, which is like kind of on North Campus. It's just like a typical college dorm. But something that was good about living in La Plata for the ILS community is like all of the office hours for the courses were hosted in the La Plata lounges. So it was a very convenient and like centralized location for like being able to go to the gym, but also like going to office hours. All of your classmates live with you the first year, so it's like an easy way to make friends. I'm also or I have the Banneker Key Scholarship, so I'm happy to answer anybody's questions about that. So I live off campus now, but I know some of the like definitely the honors housing does have an advantage, and it was nice living on campus for the first 2 years.
Thank you. Okay, next question. What percentage of honor students get internships, and does that percentage vary by college? So we don't have that specific data, but what I can say, and then I'll turn it over to the students for them to actually speak on what they've done. But what I can say is just like the research opportunities, the internship opportunities on campus are so many. I feel like students, the issue is not finding them, it's like narrowing it down to what they're going to go into. So there are different options. There are going to be multiple different ways for them to get involved. Not all of our students do internships, but a lot of them do. And a lot of them, I mean, I'll let the students speak about the process and how easy it was for you, or how you felt. Was it difficult? Was it easy? And then, yeah, you can just say that.
I can speak a little bit about this specifically through the Honors College. I was in Honors Global Challenges and Solutions, and one of the tracks actually you can participate in the Global Fellows program that UMD has. That program's open to students not in the Honors College, but HGLO has a partnership with it. So a lot of the students in HGLO, their sophomore year, will do that program, and they basically help you find an internship, whether that be in the DC area or virtual, depending on your class schedule. And a lot of students in HGLO take up that opportunity and will intern a lot of the times in government in the DC area. So that was one of my first big internships. I interned at the Department of Commerce, and a lot of the other students in my program did internships that semester as well.
I'm actually going to add, we have, the university does a survey of graduates each year. And when Chantel mentioned earlier, we have the 2024 data, but we don't have the 2025 data yet because the data is based on everyone who graduated within the calendar year of 2024. And since 2025 just ended, we don't have that data yet. But for 2024, 88% of the respondents who identified that they were in the Honors College reported having at least one internship during their time at the University of Maryland. So 29% had one internship during their time, 36% had two, and 29% had three or more internships. So lots and lots of students get internship experience during their time here.
Thank you for finding that. Okay, next we see is housing guaranteed for 4 years. So for our students, as long as you do not move off campus, and so you would get guaranteed housing if you were to live on campus all consecutive years. So if you were to be on campus freshman year, move off campus sophomore year, and then come back on campus on junior year, it would not be guaranteed. So as long as you stayed on campus, you should have guaranteed housing. Can students switch the program if they change their mind? So yes, so I kind of touched on this earlier, but there's two different time periods of this. So the first one would be once they find out their program placement, which is the beginning of March. If they do not like where they've been placed, they have second thoughts about it, they can email us and let us know that, and then let us know which program they actually, want to go into. And then we will put them on a wait list. We will not know until after the commitment date. So we have to keep telling students that we will not know any information until after that date when we see where our numbers land in our programs. And then from there, we can decipher whether we can bring students into the wait list from the wait list or not. The second time that students can do this is if a student goes through their freshman year in a program. So let's say they're in integrated life sciences. At the end of their freshman year, they're like, I don't really like this program anymore. There is an option to apply to go into another honors program, which would start their sophomore year. The caveat with that is, one, because all of our programs range between 15 and 18 credits. They're all separate classes. Like there's no one class that is shared between any of our programs. They're all completely different curriculums. So with that being said, if you were to take your, two courses in ILS your freshman year, and then you moved into honors humanities your sophomore year, those two ILS classes would not count towards your honor citation. They would count for your degree requirements wherever they fell. But as far as your honor citation goes, you would have to complete whatever curriculum program you're in. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is you would start with, so as a sophomore, you would be starting with the incoming freshman cohort. Since they're starting from the beginning, you'd be starting from the beginning too. So those are the two different options as far as like being able to change your mind and switch. Okay, can you repeat what you said about scholarships and scholarship decisions? Was that you, Jenny?
Yes. So there are some questions about the Banneker Key. I just want to point out the Banneker Key notifications have already been released. Those were released late last week. So students who were notified that they were invited to the Banneker Key as a semifinalist, they got more information about the next steps for that. All other students, whether they're invited to honors or not, are considered for academic merit scholarships based on their application. They will receive notification about that on around March 1st, is my understanding.
Thank you. Okay, next question. If a program is 2 years, what happens in their last 2 years, is a student no longer considered an honor student? Marissa, you want to go and take that?
Yep. So as I said, I'm gonna graduate ILS this semester. So the good thing about ILS, it's a little bit flexible when you want to complete it. So it can take up to 2 years. But if you decide to kind of stretch out your classes, you can take longer. So I'm a junior. So at least for ILS, once you're done with your citation, which kind of involves, like making a poster, having a research internship. So when you're all done with that, you go to like capstone and everything like that, and then there's the ceremony, and then you're kind of all done. But you can still choose to take honors courses and honors classes. And like I'm also an honors ambassador. I think all of us are honors ambassadors, but so obviously I'm still engaged with the honors college, and once you're like graduated technically from your program, you can obviously still take honors courses and stay engaged with helping with the new incoming students.
Thank you. Okay. Does university honors have connections with industry contacts, recruitment fairs, or any specific way to connect UH kids to internships and future jobs? It seems the other honors programs have specific opportunities, but I didn't get the same impression for UH.
So I'm going to jump in here because I know UH has a lot of activities that they do. So obviously they are the largest program, but they do have a number of extracurricular activities. Some are purely social and some are professional development. They also connect students between programs. At the beginning of the freshman year, they usually offer um, like I think they're college nights where they invite students from different colleges to come together and connect and meet each other and get to know each other across UH. And so they'll like one night they'll be like, hey, RHU students, anyone who's in RHU a major or BSOS or sorry, we're using um, I don't know what the word is.
Acronyms?
Acronyms, yes, thank you. RU is the College of Arts and Humanities. VSOS is the College of Behavior and Social Sciences. So students who have majors in those colleges, they invite them to come and connect and hang out. But UH also does a series, they do a number of professional development events. They invite industry experts to come in and present to their students. And also within the classes themselves, they'll bring in industry experts into those classes. They'll go on field trips. I can't think of the specifics here, but I know there have been stories that I've read about students in like an environmental related class have gone to like the waterways in Maryland and done some studies there. I know that that is not very specific, but that is because it is not my area of expertise. But UH has the people who have that expertise who teach the classes and then take the students out into the real world for those real world experiences as well.
Thank you. I see a question that says, is housing restricted to the honors cohort? I'm assuming are you saying are students required to live in their honors housing? I think that's what that question is. So I'll answer that. If it's not, then please retype the question. But okay, so three of our programs, IBH, ILS, and ACES, have living requirements. ACES would be required to live in Prince Frederick for 2 years, so the time of their program. ILS and IBH are 1 year within their resident halls. The other five programs have assigned resident halls where we highly suggest our students go. Like if your student submits their housing application with nothing, like does nothing else but submits it, they're going to be automatically placed in whatever resident hall is assigned to that program that they're in. So they actually don't need to do anything else. We will do that stuff on the back end. But we highly suggest it because it's a part of what we try to create, which is a living and learning experience. So they're living together and learning together, but they are not obligated for those five programs. They are not obligated to live there. So we have students who opt not to. They may have friends that they non-honors friends that they want to room with. And you do have an option. It's not guaranteed. It has to be put through the Department of Resident Life, which the student and the students will have to contact and see if they can do that. But we do have students that opt not to live in our resident halls. So I hope that answers the question. If not, you can retype it and I'll go back to that. Is there a link to the sample courses curriculum for each of the programs? If a student comes in with classes that would count toward general education requirements, like AP or dual enrollment, would they take additional honors courses as electives? Um, so I'm going to answer, and then I'm going to defer to you guys since I'm assuming some of y'all have brought in some credits from high school. Okay. So a lot of our students do bring in college credits, or it's transferable to college credits. So like I was saying, like our honors curriculum is very specific to the program. So AP courses, dual enrollment courses would not satisfy an honors class. So honors classes are designed to take the place of general education requirements. But if your student is coming in and they've completed all their general education requirements, I'm assuming you're asking like what happens with those honors classes. So I know some of y'all have come in with credits. Can you speak on that? Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries. So yeah, so how it works based on my understanding is that when you commit to UMD and let's say your student took some AP exams during their senior year, they would send those scores to UMD and UMD would have their other AP scores or IB scores, and that whole process of accepting your AP credits is separate from the honors college. So like for example, I had a certain number of credits coming and all of my credits were accepted. So then what ended up happening was I was like, okay, well, what does this mean? What it basically means is I got out of a lot of classes for my major, but the honors classes are so specific that the level of the AP classes are not at a niche enough level to satisfy the honors classes. For example, for ILS first years in their fall semester, some of them take integrated and quantitative concepts in biology, which is essentially a biology class that assumes you have AP biology knowledge. And then on top of that, the professor he adds in bioinformatics to the course. So essentially, there aren't any AP courses or IB courses that would fulfill that class because they're just really specific.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Okay, how many students are in the honors college? So each year, um, we take in about 1,000, a little over 1,000 students for each cohort. And like I said, each of our programs so have all different capacities. So that 1,000-ish students is spread completely different across those programs, where half of the incoming cohort is typically in UH. Are all classes for honor students smaller size or just core classes in the first 2 years? So I'll let the students speak about the differences between their honors classes and their other classes, but um, they are smaller, or just core courses classes in the first 2 years. So the curriculum is going to only, except for gemstone, should only spread across the first 2 years. So that will be the only 2 years that they should be having classes. Although some might go into like their first semester of their junior year. But I will let the students talk about the differences in size between your honors courses, and maybe as a freshman, you're probably taking more general education courses than anything. So if you could talk about the differences between those two.
I can start for this one if everybody else wants to go after. So for me, as a STEM major, I had to take like a lot of chemistry classes, and I'm still taking them now. So the class that Mallory was talking about earlier, I took too because we're in the same program. I would say that was like roughly my cohort size. So maybe like under 60 kids. That's just a guess, like somewhere between like 60 and 70 probably, which like that kind of sounds like a large number, but like for example, in my general chemistry class for freshman year, I think it was like a 200 or 300 person lecture hall. So your honors classes are going to give you like a smaller class, which can like suit a better relationship with the people in your class and the professors. So I would expect in your gen ed classes or like anything that's really intro to your major for there to be a significant more amount of people than in your honors classes.
Thank you. Okay, so I would like to hear from the students on what they think was this is a good question, what they think was the best benefit of being part of the Honors College. Don't you all speak?
That's a great question. The best benefit I would say, for me personally, has to be the, I guess, level of involvement that you can obtain in the university and then your one-on-one interactions. So, for example, the professors, I'll use an example of ILS's director and associate director. Both of them are professors for ILS classes. So not only do you get to know them as professors, but you also get to know them as people who want to mentor you and point you toward opportunities. So it's really nice to have that duality there and kind of be able to connect with very distinguished high level faculty on personal and professional academic levels. So you really get to create these bonds that will really help you move forward in your academic and personal pursuits. So I would say access and that aspect has been my favorite part of the Honors College. One more thing that I would like to say is I think it's been really nice to basically starting from my freshman year fall have a guaranteed group of people who I can refer to for help in a class or just to hang out with, considering I was living with those people in a dormitory. So I think that that's a great component as well. It's kind of a built-in social circle, which is really nice, especially for me because I'm more introverted.
Yeah, I going off of what Mallory is saying, I agree. I think the community that the Honors College has really helped me in my freshman year. The University of Maryland is such a big school, which can be a little bit daunting your first year, and there's so many different opportunities that the school has to offer. But starting off in a living learning program helps you navigate those opportunities. You have a community of people who are going through the same thing, who can help you find whatever it is that you're looking for at the school. And also, especially if you live in the residence hall of your living learning program your freshman year, it's a lot easier to make friends and find people who have similar interests because you're all kind of put in this program based off your interests. So it's a nice way to kind of make a big school feel like a community.
I'll just echo everything that the other students said. I think that like the benefit of being in the living learning program definitely gives you a strong social setting to be in. Just because I was looking in the Q&A, I'll speak to the internships a little bit more. So ILS has a research requirement as the internship. So that's nice because it kind of builds in that requirement that you need to have a research internship by the time you graduate from your honors program. So for me, I was lucky that one of our ILS courses, which is a genetics course, was taught by the professor that I ended up doing research for. And then if it wouldn't have been for like the smaller cohort size, it definitely, or not cohort size, the smaller class size, it would have been harder for me to form a relationship with the professor. So that was definitely something that was easier for me was finding my research because of the connection that I had to the teacher in ILS. So that's probably one of the best benefits because also like students going to medical school do need research opportunities most of the time. So that was definitely very helpful for my like career outside of school as well.
Thank you. And then can the students talk about the social environment of honors housing? What are the pros and cons, and does it limit connection with other student communities?
Um, I can start. I think for me, so I lived in Dorchester Hall, which is the home base for the H-Glow program, and I really liked living in that residence hall. It's a little bit smaller because I think H-Glow is like my cohort was about 70 students, so the residence hall is a little bit smaller. So we had a lot of events going on, which was nice to make those initial friends. In the basement of that residence hall, they would have different like events based on holidays or back to school, whatever that may be. And it was a nicer dorm because it was smaller, so it was kept cleaner. But I think the other I mean the other students can speak about theirs, but I don't think it limited meeting people from different residence halls that much because yes, those were kind of the initial friends I made, but also once you start going to classes, you start meeting people from different majors, different programs, and you can also interact with them and meet them outside of class. So I don't think it limits, but I definitely did enjoy having that as my um, dorm for the first 2 years.
Yeah, I think like everything you were saying, Sachi, is like so on point. Yeah, like for me, I really enjoyed living in the dormitory, and living in the Plato Hall for ILS, for example. Also because our teaching assistant office hours were held in our dorm building, so that was like super convenient because you could just go upstairs and get help on your homework, for example. But it was really nice just to have a group of people who were interested in things you were interested in and wanted to interact with you, but I don't think it limited me at all in meeting other people. One, because in the Plata Hall, very big dormitory, you meet other people naturally just in the elevator if you're studying in a study room, etc. And then just like you were saying, Sachi, like going to classes and everything. For specifically, my ILS classes were never the majority of my classes in a given semester. So I actually had a lot of classes in which I could meet non-ILS students. So yeah, I wouldn't say it limits you.
I don't really have that much to add to that, so I feel like they answered that pretty.
Thank you. I mean, that is a big question. People want to know if they'll be siloed. You will not be siloed. And like Mallory was saying, the majority of, well, maybe half, of our buildings, so mostly on North Campus. So North Campus has the big freshman resident halls, like Mallory was saying. So for us, we reserve certain floors for our students. So let's say, I could be lying, but let's say there's 10 floors. Floor 5 and 6 would be honors, and then the other floors would be other people. So that's what Mallory was referring to. So it's nice that you're close in close quarters with people that you're taking class with in interest, but you're not siloed at all. You're still going to be interacting with other people. Let's see. Okay, this is good. All right, so for our students, because you guys are all amazing, you probably had some very attractive university offers. So, what helped you make the decision to come to UMD and then, I guess, opt into honors?
I would love to answer this question. The first thing for me was, well, if I'm being honest, I'm an in-state student, so it was very nice having the in-state tuition. But moving on from that, I would say the biggest thing that attracted me to UMD was when I attended the admitted students uh, open house reception at the president's house for honors admitted students. That was really what pushed me over the edge to commit to UMD. So if you can go, I encourage you to go. There are two of them, I think, this spring, right? Two of them open admitted students or something. There's one. Okay, okay, cool.
It will
If
be
you
an
can't go,
invite. It's invite only. We can't invite everyone. So it's certain some students will be invited. So stay tuned.
got it. Thank you for that, Dr. Lang. If you can go, I encourage you to go because that's what pushed me over the edge. I got to meet Dr. El Said and Miss Jayla Townsend, the director and assistant director of ILS face to face. And they were just such warm and welcoming people. And to me, I was a little intimidated to meet people. I'm like, oh my gosh, like you have a PhD. Like, oh my gosh, hi. But it was really nice to meet them face to face. They were just so warm and welcoming. And President Pines was also very warm and welcoming, shaking everyone's hand, making eye contact. And that's what really pushed me over the edge because UMD just seemed very inviting in that aspect. So that's what ultimately convinced me to commit to UMD. On top of just the amazing opportunities, UMD is a fantastic research institution. So when I was doing my research on colleges, considering I'm a pre-medical student, research opportunities were really important to me, and guidance on that, on how I can get to my career goals was really important. And UMD has a fantastic career center, has a fantastic health professions advising office. So I just think that the general support and welcoming environment of UMD is what pushed me over the edge.
Yeah, definitely. I think everything that Mallory said is true. I think another thing that first interests me in applying is that it is such a big school, and with such a big school, there's a lot of different opportunities throughout, and a lot of different majors, different ways to explore your interests once you get here. And because it has such a huge alumni, basically any job or any career that you're interested in, someone from UMD has already done it, so you can always reach out to people, and I think that's what really interested me. And then hearing about the honors college and getting into HGLO, I think that also pushed me over the edge to pick UMD just because I liked kind of what I talked about earlier. I kind of liked how it was like a smaller community in a bigger community. So it kind of felt like the best of both worlds.
So like I said earlier, I'm going to reiterate everything that was already said. I feel like those are great reasons to come to this school. I initially was attracted by my financial offer because it was a very like big blessing to come here with my scholarship. But when I did come for my interview day for my scholarship, I got to see some of the buildings at UMD because Harford County is kind of far away from College Park. It's like an hour and a half. That doesn't sound that far, but when you're the one driving, it feels far. So when I came here, I really liked all like the buildings and like how big the campus felt because for me, I definitely wanted a bigger school so that I could like explore and always be in different areas, like studying because I like to kind of explore around and everything. But then when I came back for, I think an admitted students day, I got to learn more about like the Honors College and then I got to see more parts of campus. And I think I also met students that were accepted into ILS. So once I got to meet new people, that was definitely something I was interested in. And then when I filled out the form about like the living learning program preference sheet, I remember reading all the different honors programs and I don't remember exactly like what the other colleges that I applied to were offering, but like the different programs, there were like multiple of them that sounded very interesting to me. And so I feel like that's the thing that definitely motivated me to come was how like specific and interesting all the different honors programs sounded.
Thank you so much, guys. Um, Jenny, I'm gonna tag you in really quickly. Um, there's a couple of questions about the preference form, where it can be found, and just so it just jumped somewhere else. Is it first come, first serve when it's when we're talking about program assignments?
Yeah. So the preference form is available in the student's TERPS application portal. So that is where they got their admission letter. That's where, when they're ready, they can respond to their offer of admission. But the form is available in TERPS application portal. They should log in. There should be a link, I think, to their admitted freshman checklist. And when they click on that link, they will see the options, one of which is the honors preference form. So that's where they should access it. I don't have a link for that because it's within that login for them. Um, all students who submit the form by February 16th, whether they submit the form on February 1st or February 16th at 11:58 p.m., all students have equal consideration. So there is no advantage to submitting the form, last week versus on the date of the deadline. So whenever a student submits it, as long as it's submitted by February 16th, they will be reviewed for placement in the programs that they've preferenced. I was also gonna answer a few. Someone asked about the breakdown of numbers of students in each of the programs. Just so you know, we usually have a freshman class of around 1,000, a little bit under 1,000 incoming freshmen coming into honors total. The largest program is University Honors. That program usually has 420 to 450-ish students in it. The next largest program is Gemstone, which usually has between 135 to 150 freshmen. Then ILS has between 75 and 90-ish freshmen each year in the cohort, and the other programs are somewhere between 65 and 85 students in the cohort for those programs. So hopefully that covers that. There's also an interesting question about if a particular major is not offered by the university, is there an option within the Honors College for the student to work with faculty staff to create that major? No, not within the Honors College, but we do offer an individualized studies program. So there's an individualized studies program office. Um, I can look up the website and then put it in the chat. I don't know it off the top of my head, but there is an opportunity for students to create their own major if that's something they're interested in. Which honors college program would be considered stronger option for this path? None of them would be stronger than others. Honors programs are really sort of a supplement to the major, an alternate way to take some gen ed courses with the community, and the big advantage is the community, and it really is about what you are interested in. So, but fill out the preference form based on what you are interested in. I think that's all I was covering for now.
I'm trying to group some questions all together. So talking about the actual classes. So they're wondering how grading works in college classes, and how I often fear how large public universities have big weed out intro classes. So, for students, if you could answer that, but also from a standpoint of what differences do you find between the classes that you're taking in honors and the classes that, if you can remember, because I know that's years back behind me, but classes that you took in high school. So whether that was AP, IB courses, dual enrollment courses, I know some students worry about how that kind of transition will be coming into college courses. So if you could talk about that, and then also, actually, let's start with there. We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So, in regards to those really large intro classes, like for example, general chemistry or organic chemistry, I would say so in honors college classes, because the sizes are smaller, I wouldn't worry about that kind of a weed out idea or culture. Honors staff members and faculty really want students to succeed, so I don't think that that's a factor in honors college classes. In regards to outside of honors and those like introductory courses for your major, yes, the classes are large, but the success of a student in terms of being weeded out, the success of a student is dependent on sometimes students just realize, okay, wait, maybe I'm not as interested in insert whatever topic as I thought I was, and that's why they drop the class. Or it could just be because students get overwhelmed with the workload or whatever. But what I recommend is the biggest difference between my AP classes in high school and the classes I've taken in college is the level of independence and personal responsibility. So, for example, when it comes to college, when it came to my AP classes, I was like, okay, I was being guided through exactly what I would have to know for the exam. It was nothing was ambiguous. I knew exactly what to expect. There was a really long legacy of trends that I could look at. But in college, it's more so based on how much responsibility you take of your academics. So, what I recommend to students is I recommend that they create really strong connections early on with professors. So, that means going to office hours, making appointments if you can't make office hours or if you're still confused about a particular topic. I also recommend reaching out to classmates and forming study groups and things like that, and making sure to never leave lecture confused. So, that would be my advice for that.
Thank you. And going back to the class, this was the second part I wanted to answer. So, we kind of touched on this earlier, but the question is, do all courses taken through honors count towards gen ed requirements? They're designed to cover general education courses, but in the event that, well, I'll say for some of y'all, it's not just gen ed courses. Sometimes it is your major course as well, right? Yeah. So it just depends on the classes in your major, um, where it kind of lands. And speaking of that, uh, there's several questions asking about which program is the best for a specific major. Um, so Jenny mentioned this in the presentation, but through the programs, you have an option to go more in depth in your major or go completely separate to something like an interest. So Mallory and Maritza are in integrated life sciences, both pre-med, which is more so going into depth in their chosen field of study. But we have plenty of pre-med students that decide to go into honors humanities because they just want to break. And that's a lot of the times, and I'm sure you guys can attest to that. Maybe your friends have said this, but a lot of the times I hear students say, I already knew I was going to have like a really heavy course load because my majors. I just wanted to have a break in the classes I was taking. And this was some of their favorite classes because it kind of went into an interest versus an obligation, I guess. Do you want to speak about that? Like any class that you took just for interest?
I can talk about this. So A lot of my classes, because I am pre-med, are obviously going to be like your STEM classes, but I did decide to add an Asian American Studies minor. Number one, because like social justice advocacy is important to me, and I'm also half Filipino, so I was very interested in learning about different like cultural and historical impacts and like how that's interesting in society today. So that was something that I was very interested in before coming to college, but I knew that like my science classes weren't going to directly touch on that, but I had the ability to add the minor, and I feel like that's definitely something to be said. Like just because you're in a specific honors college doesn't mean that you can't like explore other things and like honestly, like looking into minors or like different classes than you would usually take is only gonna like broaden your horizons, help shape your perspectives more. I know for people that are pre-med, it's super good to like be culturally competent and like explore a bunch of different areas of study other than just science and medicine. So that was my motivation behind that. It was mainly for my interest.
And I think it's similar to how you added that minor. Some people use the honors college as that purpose. Like one of my close friends, he's pre-med, but he's was always interested in like government in high school, so he's in HGLO, which talks a lot about global issues. So I think despite your major, you can do any of the different living learning programs, just depending on anything you might want to learn more about outside of your mandatory classes for your major.
Thank you. Um, this one's specific to Mallory. My kid must live in the LLP to be able to be in the honors program. They couldn't live in a non-honors dorm and still participate in honors. Are the dorms that the honors kids live in also have non-honors students? Well, we actually answered that. Their question, do the honors kids get to pick another roommate or are they randomly assigned? Um, so Mallory and Maritza, I know you can only speak from an ILS standpoint, which you had to live with your ILS students the first year. So for them particularly, um, they had to live with them, but I'll let you guys talk a little bit more about that if you want to add to that.
Yeah, so just to clarify, just like what Dr. Lang was saying, to be in honors, you do have to be in one of the eight living learning programs. Like you need to be enrolled in one of them, but not all of the programs require you to live like in a respective building, but ILS does. So like for me, for example, I had to live in La Plata my first year, so that's what I did. And then it was optional after that, but I decided to live in La Plata again my sophomore year, which in for me was a great choice, very convenient location. But yeah, I guess that's just to clarify that. Additionally, for ILS, your roommate does need to be another ILS student. And are the dorms? Yes, I know we kind of talked about this before, but like in La Plata or Pyeongchang or Johnson Whittle or Prince Frederick Hall, for example, not all of the students who live in those dorms are honor students. So there are definitely non-honor students in those dorms, and sometimes in some cases, for eighth floor of La Plata, there might be a few non-honor students because ILS students normally live on eighth and ninth floors of La Plata.
Thank you for that. While I have you, you and Maritza can speak on this. There's a question that says, is the pre-med track under ILS?
So I can take a stab at this. I don't think that there's an official like declaring pre-med track at this university. I don't know if that's the same for like pre-law or pre-PA. I don't think you declare anything. So for me, I knew that I wanted to pursue medicine before I came to the university. So I came in knowing I need to have like my core classes. But for pre-med, you just need to contact the health admissions office. I can put the link in the chat. But that's going to be your source of like taking and looking at what classes that you normally need to take. But like pre-med is not a minor, a major, or like a declared track. Like if you want to do medicine, that's kind of you can say that you're on the pre-med track, but there's no like physical track. It just means that you want to go to medical school after.
Thank you for that clarification. Okay, so you guys spoke about why you chose to go to UMD and opt into the honors college. So on the other end of that, there's a question that says, are there any negatives that you find being in the honors college?
Um, I mean, I know I'm an ambassador, but I'm not trying to just like make us look good all the way, but it took me a long time to come up with an answer because I genuinely don't think there is a specific honors con, if that makes sense. I mean, like the struggles I've experienced in university are just because I'm in university. I haven't had any like honors specific negative experiences, if that makes sense. So if I had a negative experience, it was just because that's like a common experience that university students face. And I'm not just saying that because I'm an ambassador. I'm being honest. I've really loved my time in the honors college.
I would agree. I think the honors college provides like opportunities, but it's up to you to take them. So if I don't know if something like stresses you out or if you don't want to be involved in something, you don't have to. There's no like extra pressure. I think the concern maybe from that question might be with the classes and the difficulty of them. I think I can speak for HGLO. The classes were more so for us to like expand on our interests and learn about those topics. They weren't my most stressful classes. So I guess that's the only like mandatory part of it, but the other options are there for you to see how involved you want to be in the honors college.
I think also, sorry, if I can just add one more thing. I think like what could potentially be viewed as a downside is that it can feel kind of isolating if, let's say, like it seems like everyone's doing all these really cool things and you're like, oh man, what am I doing? But I would say that that more so comes from taking advantage of certain opportunities. So the honors college faculty throw so many good opportunities at their students. They never hesitate to say, oh, this internship is available, this whatever is open, this whatever is open. So I would say that I encourage students to really take advantage and try things, take advantage of opportunities and try things, because I think that maybe people might be worried about, oh my gosh, like this class, for example, some of the ILS courses are difficult because, for example, it might be genetics and genomics, but you would have a difficult genetics and genomics class whether or not you were in the ILS specific one or not. So what I say is why not do it in the honors college and have that added benefit of having a small community that's really going to focus on you and get to know you and help you. So that's what I would say. Take advantage of opportunities and really put yourself out there so that you don't feel isolated.
Thank you. And just to piggyback on that, since I did see a question related, and they didn't specify honors college. So I guess if you could just talk about, have there been any challenges that you, especially I'm guessing as a freshman coming in, having to transition from high school to college, um, did you find yourself with any challenges? And if so, how did you overcome them?
I can start with this. So I feel like coming to UMD, it's a really like definitely it has a big reputation of being an intellectually challenging school where you have a big like we have a lot of really great professors, a lot of hard classes. So I definitely was nervous coming to college. I was always somebody that worked very hard, but I definitely like was stressed working hard for school. So I would say my biggest challenge was getting adjusted to the workload and trying to find like a school life balance. But another good thing about the living learning programs is that you will make friends with the people in your program. And I was lucky that my roommate is like my best friend at college now. So I was able to grow like a really good support system. So because, we're roommates, we're already together all the time, but also because we're taking the same classes, we're able to like study together, help each other out. So I feel like a good part about being in a living learning program and the honors college is that you really are like never alone and there's always going to be people to support you. The professors are like that, the students are like that. So if you are like a student or you know that your student like faces a lot of stress and anxiety from school, it's definitely a supportive community. So if that seems like something you would be worried about coming into college, that is a challenge that you can work to overcome. So that would be my thing.
Yeah, for me, I would say, oh, sorry. Did you have something to say, Miss Smith? No. Oh. For me, I would say, I mentioned before, but I'm like pretty introverted, so it may not seem like that now because that was kind of more so when I came into college. So I would say for me, a big difficulty was like, okay, I know I'm living with these people, but like it's still kind of scary to, tap someone on the shoulder when they're brushing their teeth in the morning and be like, "Hi, do you want to be friends?" So I think the that was a challenge for me making friends. So kind of how I overcame that was I I had the idea of like your first year, no one knows anyone anyway. So everyone wants to make friends. So if you if you just kind of initiate a conversation, whether it's, oh, I really like your jacket, or you just sit across from someone in the dining hall on like one of the first days of classes and you're like, hi, people are going to be receptive. That's what I would say. First year students want to make friends. So I would not necessarily like let a fear of rejection or whatever hinder you. That's what I would say. That was my biggest challenge making friends. But once I kind of was like, wait, everyone's here for the first time. No one knows anyone. Everyone wants to make friends, then it kind of really helped me like get over that self-constructed barrier.
And then, not to put you on the spot, Sachi, but you're out of state. So I would like to hear about your transition, how you felt that was coming to UMD, especially because it's majority in-state students as well.
Sure. Yeah, I think kind of the experience was a little bit similar to what I think they were talking about. There's the anxiety at first about balancing making new friends and doing school, which is very different from high school. So I think I was a little nervous at first because there's not too many people from my high school who came here with me. But kind of just echoing again, like I think the living learning program really helped with that. I'm a senior now, and I still all my roommates are from age close. So just having those classes together and then also living together really just helps you make friends right off the bat. There's something to talk about, there's common ground. So I think that helped me with the more social aspect. And then the academic aspect, I think um, you just kind of learn as you go. Once you get to college, you have to take advantage of the opportunities present, ask for help when you need it. And I think that also just fell into place.
Thank you. Since you're talking now, I see a message specifically for you. So the question is, where do HFIL sophomores live? And do many stay rooming together, or do people go their own separate ways? And then where do you guys live when you're upperclassmen?
Sure. So HCLO is in Dorchester Hall or your freshman year. It's not required, but most, at least when I was in it, most of the people in the program stayed in Dorchester Hall their freshman year. And then for the sophomore year, you can, ended up staying there for another year, but they don't have as many spots as there are students. So if all the students who live there their freshman year wanted to come back their sophomore year, that wouldn't be possible. So some people either um, wanted to stay or didn't want to stay. So I wanted to stay, so I was able to find a spot. I think it changes with each year. I remember when I was there, it was a little bit difficult. Some people wanted to stay and couldn't, whereas the year after, most people left, and there was actually more room in the residence hall. So it really depends on your cohort and how much they want to stay in the residence hall, but you are able to stay up to 2 years if you get a spot. And then after that, I think most students tend to move off campus. You can do or like the on-campus South Campus Commons apartments or off-campus apartments, which is where I live. And the process for that is completely separate from the university. You don't use the housing portal or anything, or you can continue to live on campus if you'd like. But I'm not too familiar with that process.
Thank you. And then a lot of our students, I heard Marissa say her best friend was from freshman year in honors, but a lot of our students will probably say the same thing, that some of their best friends were from their honors program, and a lot of them do tend to continue to room together throughout their time at UMD. So um okay, I'm gonna answer one question. Let me get to the students. Okay, so for Gemstone, do you only provide liberal arts or humanity related projects? My son is in STEM. If he chooses to go into the program, does he have an opportunity to do CS, which is community science, or STEM projects? So Gemstone, the freshman year of Gemstone is acclimating students into research and what research is and stuff like that. By the That's the first semester. The second semester, they'll actually start exploring different research topics. So the one of the biggest advantages that Gemstone has over other, like the program itself, over other universities, is that it's very rare to get the research opportunity that you have in Gemstone at an undergrad level. So that's number one. And then their second semester of their freshman year, they go through different research topics, and the cohort themselves come up with different topics. So to answer your question, it would really depend on what the cohort decided. Some are going to be liberal arts, some will be humanity based. If that specific cohort decided that, and they vote on these. So if one of the research opportunities was STEM related and it was voted up, then basically I'll say like the top topics are chosen. Let's say there's 10 topics that go to the highest. Have the biggest vote, the most votes. From them 10 topics, now students can pick which team they want to be on. So they would have to pick one of those top topics, but the students choose those. So it just depends. It varies depending on what they want to do. So to answer your question, is it possible? Yes. But it would vary depending on what his cohort decided to do. And now back to the students. What do you guys do for fun? On campus, off campus? What's the social scene like? Let's start talking about that.
I can go first. So I am a part of a service dog raising club called Fidos for Freedom. That's probably one of my favorite things that I do. So we just got two puppies. I think one's an Australian Shepherd and one's a yellow lab. Labs are very near and dear to my heart. So that's something I do for my mental health and to make friends. I'm the president of the Women's Surgical Society here on the campus. So that's really fun. Obviously, I'm a big fan of that. We do a lot of like cool like clinics and everything. And I'm trying to think of what else. I do a lot of good volunteering stuff. I do this cool off-campus refugee mentoring, which is really fun to work with like smaller kids. And I have been cooking a lot since moving off campus. So that is good for my adult life.
That's awesome. Maritza's so cool. I want to be Maritza when I grow up. Um, things I do for fun on and off campus. Well, like this is like this is one of my on-campus jobs, but I love it so much it doesn't feel like a job. I'm a group fitness instructor for like our recreation center, Epley. It's like recreation and wellness, and that is so much fun. I'm a cycling instructor. It's just so hype too, and my classes are most of the time in the early morning. So I think it's really fun to just get up and like get on a bike and have some disco lights going and play some fun music and get a workout in. So that's like one of my favorite things that I do on campus. In terms of, yes, group fitness for the win. In terms of off campus, I also really enjoy volunteering. I volunteer at a social services organization. So I work with a lot of individuals who are food insecure, who don't have access to certain hygiene products. And that's been like a super rewarding and fun experience. Um, Additionally, in terms of like organizations, I'm part of the Dean Student Advisory Council for the College of Computer, Mathematical, and Natural Sciences. Mouthful. But basically, we do a lot of work with just like ensuring that the gap between the student experience and like the faculty perception of student experience, like that they're consistent and that the gap is not there. So that's always been really fun. We do like a lot of surveys, polling, and that kind of stuff. And yeah. And then I also really enjoy the work I do in ILS. So, like, for example, ILS has like a student leadership council. So I've really had a great time like creating a legacy in the program and really being part of that. And then, yeah, just hanging out with friends, watching movies. I love to exercise. I love to dance. They have so many cool dance teams on campus, and I go to all of their concerts. Definitely like checking out the Clarice, which is our performing arts center, going to shows. A lot of them are free or discounted for students, which is nice. I also love going to athletic games, which are free or discounted for students. Shameless plug there. But yeah, those are the things I do for fun.
Yeah, just to echo everyone, the extracurriculars on campus are a lot of fun. Sports games, anything for like student tickets on campus. I think one thing that no one mentioned yet is that we're also so close to DC, so just taking the metro and going to any event that you're interested in DC. Like last week, me and my friends watched a Wizards versus Knicks game. There's a lot of my friends will just go to concerts. Like it's so accessible. So especially being out of state, I've really enjoyed exploring DC on the weekends sometimes.
Thank you guys. Yeah, there's so many ways to get involved. Like I was speaking earlier, I want to say there's like over 800 student groups on campus. So if you cannot find an interest within those, you have the freedom and flexibility to create your own program. Um, yeah, the time that I've been here, I've literally seen and been a part of at least three organizations that were created from students. So it really is what you make of it. There's so many ways to get involved. There's so many different experiences you can have. So like the student said, it really, really depends on what you want to get out of the experience. Um, I'm gonna tag Jenny really quickly. How internationally diverse is the college? For instance, are most students from Maryland in the general DMV area or from a worldwide pool of applicants?
Yeah, so we definitely invite a large number of students from Maryland, from across the country, and from across the world. But not surprisingly, our enrollment is much heavier Maryland. We encourage international and out-of-state students to enroll. We're here to answer questions if you have any. So definitely, if you're wondering about, coming in as an international or as an out-of-state student, connect with us. I'm also going to take this opportunity to plug our Host Today option. We have an opportunity for students to submit a form. We can put that link in the chat. Chantel, I suspect, is working on it. So we have a host today option where you can fill out the form, your student can fill out the form and be matched with one of our current students. You could be matched with one of the lovely students on the call today or one of our other honors ambassadors. And depending on your availability and the student's availability, you could come to campus and shadow our student for part of or all of a day. Or if that, doesn't work out, timeline doesn't work out, you can have a phone call, a Zoom, a FaceTime, whatever works for you guys, where you can connect, ask questions, get to know one of our current students, learn about their personal experience. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out our host today, and we will match you with one of our current students.
Thank you. Um, are any of you double majors? Okay. So the question, I mean, I can answer it. The question is, how does the honors college help and benefit students of pursuing double majors? I don't know if there's anything specific that the honors college in itself does to help double majors, but I can say, because a lot of people ask this, can you double major and be in the honors college? The answer to that is yes. We have a lot of students that do double majors or double degrees. Um, we've even had students have we've seen triple degree. I don't know how they did that, but we've seen a couple triple degrees. So, um, it definitely does not hold back. Like the honors college will not hold you back from pursuing the studies that you want to pursue. Um, and you can do minors and stuff of that nature too. So hopefully that answers that question. Um, Classes in the honors program go towards um talked about this, but we can reiterate this. So classes in the honors program go toward required credits for their selected major. So we said that it varies, it depends on the program and your major. But if a student is considering med school, what are the benefits of being in the honors program considering how important their GPA and MCAT scores are?
I guess I can provide an answer to this just from my perspective. So I'm a pre-medical student. Maritza, I know you are too, so maybe you'll have some input as well. But in terms of them going toward your major, so for ILS, so all students take genetics and genomics, and then a lot of students also take cell biology and physiology through ILS. And so, for example, those two classes you would need, for example, they might be helpful for your MCAT, for example, and sometimes they're required by certain medical schools. So in that case, like, yeah, and also those classes count toward your biology degree, for example. So that's like a benefit. That's an example of a crossover that Miss Smith was talking about earlier. Um, Being in the honors program, what are the benefits? I would say that for medical school specifically, obviously I'm not an advisor or anything, but you need like clinical hours, you need research. I just think that being in the honors college gives you access to connections that can kind of help you get certain opportunities that may then help you in your medical school application journey. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Um, I agree with everything that Mallory just said. As I said earlier, my research is with one of the ILS professors, so that definitely was a big deal for me for medical school, and I've been doing that for about 2 years, so that's been like a really good long-term connection for me. In terms of like other benefits, the IL, so I'm a junior, but like the ILS seniors, many of them are applying to medical school right now or have already applied and are hearing back. It is such like an immense load off my shoulders to know that I have like connections to people that have been through this process. Because I'm like the first, like I have a sibling that's younger than me, so I don't have anybody that already went through college. So it's like a big deal to have like connections within your program, and like knowing people personally that are applying to like any type of graduate school, but the process of applying to medical school can be like a big scary thing. So definitely being in ILS and knowing other people, they're going to be able to give you some insight about classes, how the MCAT was, and just the professors too. Dr. Kramer, the one that teaches cell bio and physiology, she's helped me with research stuff and some internship stuff too. So all of the staff are helpful, but they definitely will help you out with that as well.
Thank you. All right, so we're coming up on time. I'm typing a answer to one of the questions. We're typing answers to the last two questions in here right now. But thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. Jenny put the information to the host a day form in the chats, so you can get that link. Also, if you have any follow-up questions after this, feel free to email us at honorsadmissions@umd.edu. Make sure to have your students submit their preference form by February 16th, please, 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 so that we can make sure that we get them into a program. If they submit by the 16th, we will be able to give them the information to what program they can place in by the beginning of March, which is important because we want to make sure that your students have all the information they need to make it a well-informed decision about, if UMD and the Honors College is right for them. So again, it does not commit them to the university. This is solely an in-house process that we need to do. So please make sure to do that. This is being recorded, so you can expect to see this on our website in the coming days. And I think that's it. I want to thank the honors ambassadors. Thank you so much, as always, for taking time to do this. And thank you all again for joining us. Take care.